Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Connection, week 158. It's good to be here with all of you. It feels like it was a really long time ago that we had our last call, even though it was just over a week ago. But so much has happened since then. Um, and it's just been a very emotional last, just, I guess, 2 days. Um, it's just devastating news, tragedies, as these 6 hostages were found, having just been killed a few days ago. It's just such a tragedy to know that they were alive all this time. And on the one hand, there's like knowing where they are, but also knowing that, it's just so many emotions and so many feels and so much to think about, and so much emotions. That's really what it is. There's just so much emotion. And I know that this is, a very emotional time of year in general. Anytime we go into something new, there's expectations, there's hope. There was definitely a lot of hope for a new year, a fresh start. I mean, we kind of got the news as I was waking my kids up for the first day of school. That's how that's how we found out, was like that morning. And because Sunday was like the official first day of school. um and it's just it's a roller coaster. So today I was driving my other daughter to her Olpana, to her school that's a little bit further away. And just all the songs, I mean, the artists have really just written such they really are doing their job of, like, writing music that captures emotions. And I really felt like I was just crying the whole way there. It was like an hour and a half drive, and it was just like one song after the another, just hitting on all the raw emotion. And at the same time, it is a new beginning. And it is not only was yesterday September 1st and tomorrow's the day after Labor Day, but it's also Rosh Chodesh. Tonight, tomorrow, right? Based on right now for me, Chodesh Tov, I can say to all of you, it is a new Chodesh, a new Elul. And it's interesting because it almost feels like, as we're coming back to the Chagim, it's almost like, wait, we're here again. It feels like forever ago, but it also feels like we kind of never left it. We never left that introspection. We never left that time of how can we make our lives more meaningful. We never really left that, like, meet like that time of seeing how, what more can I do? What can I bring into the world? What is in my control? How can I feel more connected? And so it's strange to be back here, right? We're back to, saying LeDavid every day. I personally never stopped saying it. I've been saying it every day. I felt on Simchas Torah like I couldn't stop saying and recognizing every day that it is Hashem who is, taking care of us during this time, and to remember that we're never alone, and we all just always want to feel closer and closer to Hashem. So what do we do? How do we handle all these emotions? How do we be inspired to move forward when we're also feeling bombarded with heaviness and heavy emotions, and a lot of feelings? And I know there can be even, I've been hearing so much from my clients and from women that I'm speaking to, the heavy feelings of the beginnings that are normal at this time, right? Kids switching schools, going to new chapters of life, right? Like, lots of from some things end, right? So every time we get to something new, something old, something else is closing. A chapter is closing in our lives as we're entering new chapters. So there's so much that, that's really what this time period is about. This Elul time period is both the last month of the year, it's the ends. We get to kind of look back at the year and say, like, what what happened this year? How did we grow? What do we see is still missing? We get to really dive into looking back at the year that was. It's also the time before the beginning. So not only is it the time to start thinking and preparing ourselves for Rosh Hashanah and for Yom Kippur and all that that entails, but it's also the time, almost like a piece of the time, if you could even say this, the time before time, right? Existence before time. If Rosh Hashanah was, the day that we were created, then Elul is the time before that, because the world was, okay, how long ago did you lose me? I all of a sudden it just kicked me off, so I don't know how long ago. It looks like my connection is fine. That it's actually looks like my connection is better than normal. So I don't even know why it keeps people are saying I keep freezing. I don't know what's going on with the connection. I'm just looking to close as many things on my computer as I can. But tell me, what was the last thing you heard me say? Because I don't know how far back to go. But I was saying that Elul is a time of both the end of the year, where we can kind of look back at the year that we had. Yes, thank you. And also the time before time, right? The period, the existence before creation, which really what was going on. What was that about is, as much as we can't even, there was no time before existence, but before there was existence, before there was creation, there was God's desire to create us, God's desire for connection, right? God's desire for relationship. And so that's what we can also tap into in this time, is that this is time of ratzon, as they say, the time for desire, the time to like feel a yearning for connection. And so, one of the things that we can do when we're feeling so many emotions is we can really look to, first of all, understand what those emotions are and give them space. We got to let ourselves feel them. Sometimes because we're scared of it. Like sometimes it feels like if I just, like if we just feel those feelings, those that sadness, like will it just consume us? Like what where do we take it? Where do we go with it? It's not anything that brings a sense of, closure. And yet there is a reality that when we that like feeling the feeling is what allows us to move through the feeling and not actually get stuck in it, right? The issue is when we don't allow ourselves to feel a just sits inside of us. We actually get stuck in that feeling. That feeling gets stuck in us. And when I think of it as like a tunnel or think of it as like a process, I've seen it now discussed as a tunnel in different books, but I actually have been using that metaphor for a long time. So it was very rewarding or validating to see that analogy being given by others as well, that feelings are a tunnel that we need to move through. We need to give ourselves permission to feel it. We need to give ourselves permission to experience it. And if we don't, like I said, either we can get stuck in it, or, and you can kind of see this happening a little bit today or a lot today. And I don't know if anyone follows all the news in Israel, but how people responded today to the news that came out is with feelings of anger, right? Feelings of frustration. Of course, we're all angry, we're all frustrated. And then the question is, where do we, to what do we put that anger towards? What do we do with those emotions? And it's very interesting to see, like, kind of stepping back and seeing from a psychological kind of perspective, how people are feeling all this emotion, but without knowing how to work through it, they just want to put it on something else, right? Let me put it on someone that I can I can actually feel like I might have control over their choices. Let me take it out, with action, which on the one hand, when we feel something, when we feel these emotions, it's actually our body's way of giving us, when we don't feel good in our emotions, it's so that we can have, it creates like a physical state in our body to get up and do something about it. And it's very frustrating when there's nothing you can do. And whether we're talking about what's going on in Israel or we're talking about anything in our lives, there's things that can feel very emotional about, and we have all this feelings and all of this, like, almost like cortisol and hormones coursing through our body, adrenaline, because our body wants to do something about it. We want to fix it. We want to change it. And sometimes we can't. It's not in our control to fully change the situation. And so one thing that we do have control over is looking at, okay, so what do I then do with all that emotion? What do I do with it? Do I, sometimes we're so upset at our husbands that we take it out on our kids, or we're so upset at our kids that we take it out, upset about what our enemies are doing to us that we take it out on each other, or we're so upset about something that we have, feel hopeless about, that we beat ourselves up, right? We get upset at ourselves. Oh, what's wrong with you? Why did you do this? Why didn't you do more? We can take all that energy and frustration and use it as a weapon against something or someone that isn't even the real enemy, right? The other thing that we can do is not only do we need to feel our emotions, but we got to look at, what actions am I taking? What actions am I actually going to take that's going to be productive, right? That's going to do something. We talked about this a lot back in like October and November and December. We talked a lot about using the physical, kind of like hitorurut, like this. We feel like we need to do something, like to use that emotion to do something with it. And it's something to remember always, right? When we're feeling down, even when we're feeling negative about something, when we're feeling hard on ourselves, when we're feeling really upset about something, when we're challenged with what's going on in our own lives, in a more national sense, whatever it is, to look to see, what can I do? What steps can I take, or where can I use this energy for the good? And then we can also look at, how am I understanding or interpreting what's going on, right? What am I making it mean? Because so often it's what we make it mean. I'm going to say probably always. It's what we make it mean that creates the suffering, that creates the negative feelings. So, it's like not just looking at what happened, but what am I thinking about what happened? What How do I interpret that in my life? Right? If you're sad, if you're feeling challenged with like the overwhelm of dealing with kids in different situations, or dealing with your own question of like, wait, how do I get my house back in order at the end of the summer? Or how am I going to spend my time? Or how do I get everyone to where they want to go? Or how do I keep everything calm? How and that I'm feeling about certain things in my life. How do I create the type of relationship that I want to have? When you're feeling all of those questions, when your feelings challenged, you could look at, well, what is the actual thing that's upsetting me, or what is it that I actually want that I don't have, and what do I make it mean that I don't have it, or what do I make it mean that this is the situation, right? When if all my kids are now out in school or going off in life to university or to Israel, or to they're all out of the house, or they're all like, do I make it mean that I don't matter anymore? Do I make it mean that everyone's leaving me? Do I make it mean that nobody care, like, I that I'm, you know, I don't like, yeah, I don't matter? Or like, do we see, this is a maybe challenging, and I may feel some difficult feelings around it. I may be sad, I may miss them, I may feel overwhelmed by dealing with, remembering to be like, being able to keep in touch with everyone, whatever it is. And seeing it as a new chapter, a new period of life that has new challenges, new ways for me to step in as their mother, right? New ways for me, a new opportunity for me to, if I'm feeling like there's something I want and I want more connection. I want to fight less with my husband. I want to have more desire. I want to feel closer to my family. So rather than saying, "Oh, it's so horrible that I don't have it," instead of saying, "What's wrong with me that I don't have it? What's wrong with him that he's not connecting with me more? What's wrong with us? What's like everyone else has it except for us." What if instead you look at it as, "Well, this is my challenge and this is what I want, and now what can I do to create it?" Right? It's all in how we're going to look at it and what do we make it mean? Even when we want something, we can be beating ourselves up for the fact that we don't have it. Or we can want it and be beating ourselves up that we're not getting it fast enough, or getting upset at other people, like I was saying, that we don't have it fast enough or that we don't have it, right? It's so important to look at, well, what do I want? And what am I making this mean? And what can I do to create what it is that I want? And something that's very powerful to recognize, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit more over the course of the month. Um, we have some more coffee and connections before Rosh Hashanah, and I have another little thing I'm working on that I'm excited to tell you about. I just need a few more days to figure out all of the details, so check your inboxes. But something is when we feel these challenges come up in life, are we making ourselves wrong for having these challenges? I want you to really think about it for a moment. Like when you think about the challenges that you're feeling now, what does it mean about you that you have these challenges? Right? Even if you think about it, if you spent, if you're feeling sad about the news, right? If you're feeling sad to think that, you know, these families, how they're suffering, how they're so like how painful it is, everything that's going on. What does it mean about you that you're feeling challenged by it? What does it mean about you that you're sad? It means that you care. It means that you care about Am Yisrael. It means that you care about every single Jew. I didn't know any of these people personally. Did you? Maybe you did. Did you know all of them? Did you know them? But do you still feel sad to know that they died? That they were killed? What does it mean about you? It means that you care. And there's something very powerful to recognize that the things that hurt us, the things that give us challenge, are based on the things that we care about. Not every woman is connected to working on their marriage, to having a happier relationship, to having a more connected home. Not every woman listens to or comes to connection. Now, you could say, well, see, something's wrong with me that like I need to work on my marriage. I'm going to invite you to consider that that doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It's just that you care and other people have other priorities in life. But we're here because we make our marriage a priority. And I'm not saying that in like a condescending way. There are things that other people care about that I don't give my attention to. And then there are the things that I do give my attention to because they matter. And that's where I'm going to be fine tuning and what I'm going to be looking to work on are the things that matter to me. So those are the things that are going to upset me when they're not where I want them to be. When the things that I focus on are going to be the things that I'm going to notice when they're not in an ideal place. Those are going to be the challenges I'm going to take on. I remember once talking to a friend who said this in such a profound way. She said, "Thank God there are people out there who care about the whales and saving the whales." I personally don't care about saving the whales, but I'm so glad there are people that do. And I was like, Wow, that is such an empathetic way of looking at the reality that we see people caring about things and we're like, why do you care about that? Thank God there are people that care about that because someone needs to, and that's not going to be me. I I care about other things. So I'm not pained at the thought of the whales, but I am pained about any pain that you're feeling in your marriage. Any way that you're feeling that your home isn't the warm and loving place that you want it to be. That I care about. What do you care about? What does that mean about you? And can you use that as a way to bring clarity to what matters to you, what your values are, and rather than beating yourself up for the fact that it doesn't feel like it's where you want it to be, to connect to that. Connect to that. When you feel that overwhelming pain, when you turn on the news and you see footage of Hirsch's funeral, then you can acknowledge, wow, Baruch Hashem, I really love every Jew. Baruch Hashem, I care. I don't know these people and I care. I care about them. And that's every time something hurts us. Oh, my kid is mad, like my kid is upset, or my daughter's lonely at school, or my husband is in a bad mood, and or he's not being as we don't have the relationship I want to. Oh, I care about these things. And like the things that you care about are going to be the things that cause you pain. If you're feeling disconnected from Hashem, that means that your relationship with Hashem matters to you. Okay, it matters to me. So now what am I going to do to feel more connected? Is this resonating with all of you? Yeah, thank you. Let me know what you're hearing for yourself, and we're definitely going to talk about this more, if especially if it's something that you connect with, if it's something that, this concept of like like how sometimes the things that we are most bothered that they bother us are actually indications of our what matters to us, our values, our greatness, even what it means to be human. Yeah, I'll go into that one on another time. Yes, yes, that we care so much and can shift how we view our overwhelming feelings. Exactly. There is so much pain out there. There is so much pain. Yes, okay. Thank you for sharing with me what is coming up for you. And yes, when we feel an overwhelming feeling, putting it all together, you said it so beautifully. When we feel something overwhelming, we get to acknowledge that I feel this overwhelming feeling. Don't rush the process. Don't rush yourself to like have to get over it. You may say, I'm going to think about it later. I'm going to feel it more later. That's okay. Right? And when, so allow yourself to feel it. And then it's just coming to me. I saw somewhere, I can't remember where I saw it, how like sometimes you have an emotion and you feel like, well, I can't feel it now. It's from, I took my daughter to school. Like I said, I was driving home and I felt hungry. But I didn't have anything to eat. So, like, yeah, I feel hungry, but I'm not going to eat anything now. I'm driving home. I'm in traffic. When I get home, I'm going to eat. Right? I ate this little halva square that I had, but I don't have dinner. I'll eat dinner when I get home. That doesn't mean I'm ignoring my hunger when I say I'm going to eat later. Right? And sometimes we have to do that with our emotional feelings, but that doesn't mean we never acknowledge them and deal with them. So when you recognize a feeling, you allow yourself to feel it, you notice, what am I making it mean? And what does it actually say about me that matters to me? And I'm not saying this in a way to like make it as if, oh, like this is all about me, right? Of course, like part of the reason we feel pain is that we're feeling other people's pain. But if we also can recognize, wow, this is like expressing something about myself, especially when we're directing the pain towards ourselves or to people in our vicinity, our close vicinity, we can say, well, what is this? The fact that I feel this pain, what does it mean? And how can it give me insight where I want to go and what matters to me? Okay. Here I'm seeing, oh, a very, thank you for sharing this with me. Thank you for sharing this. Ay, it's about another hostage. I'm sharing that she was davening for him. And we don't know. We don't know what happened over the year. We believe our prayers do things and affected them. And Bezrat Hashem, they should also be used. And Hashem uses our tefillot as only for good. Bezrat Hashem, we should keep davening. Should we daven together? Let's say a Tehillim together. We haven't done that in a little while. Let's say Kuf Kaf Aleph together, so we can take some of our emotions and use it together. Use it for everyone to come home. Bezrat Hashem, it should be only good, only good. Bezrat Hashem, and let me. I just want to find it, and then we'll. I'm just gonna put it in here. Bezrat Hashem, that everyone should come home safe. All of the hostages, all the chayalim, we should all be safe. Build our homes, build Hashem's home, Bezrat Hashem. Our home of Israel should be safe. And all of Am Yisrael should feel connected, as we are all one home. We're all one nation. We're all to all feel this connection for the good and to celebrate together. Just as we're all crying together, we should all be celebrating together, and all celebrating together in Hashem's home. Bezrat Hashem. Shir Lamalot, Esa Einai El Ha'arim Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. Ezri Me'im Adonai, Ose Shamayim Va'aretz. Al Yitain Lemot Raglecha, Al Yanum Shomrecha. Hine Lo Yanum V'lo Yishan Shomer Yisrael. Adonai Shomrecha, Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Yaminecha. Yomam HaShemesh Lo Yekeka V'yareach Balayla. Adonai Yishmorcha Mikol Ra, Yishmor et Nafshecha. Adonai Yishmor Tzidcha Uvuecha. Me'ata v'ad olam. Hashem doesn't sleep. Hashem knows where everyone is. Hashem knows all the plans. And Hashem is watching us all every moment. May He give comfort to all the families and strength. And may this be the last piece of bad news that we have to receive. And Bezrat Hashem, we should all be connected in simcha, and lots of simcha as we go into the new year. Wishing everyone a Chodesh Tov. Let's continue to grow together over this month, over this year. I'm excited to see you, Bezrat Hashem, next week, and keep looking out for a special Elul little program I'd love to do with all of you. A few days to spend together, and Bezrat Hashem, only good. Until then, may we all be blessed to live, love, and be loved with all our hearts. Goodbye for now. Chodesh Tov.